I don't really remember all of it, but he said, is there a demon in her named Leslie? And apparently it manifested, and then...
Which is your name.
Yeah, which is my name. I'm Leslie. So I was like, that's really creepy, and I don't know how to process this. So he's like, all right, well, we're going to pray some more, and just to be sure everything's gone. So then he's like asking for the chief demon, and I can remember thinking in my head that I wanted to spit him in the face, and I kept telling him, like, I feel like I want to spit you in the face, and then I would laugh. And the next name that manifested was Marcia Faye. That is my mother's first and middle name. Then the third name, because they just kept coming at that point, the third name was Leslie Edgar. I am named after my grandfather. And then he asked, is that the chief demon? And he said, no. And so then he went on to Hiram. And it was just like, I was getting frustrated. Like, I remember my ear was hurting. I just wanted it to be over. Like, this was dealing with my family's name and my name. And I was just like, I want this to be done. And then he was like, does that name stand true before Jehovah God? And I said, no. I said, what's your name? I said, Lucifer. And so he prayed for me. They were all gone. Ended up that there was, I don't remember because I haven't given...
300 or 400.
Yeah, like 400 and something attached. And so after that, Crystal looks on her phone, and the name Hiram, translated in the Freemason religion, is Lucifer. So I was like, what the heck is going on? This stuff obviously dates back, like way in my ancestors. So, and then I was just like, wait a minute. I was telling Crystal and John, I was like, the name Hiram rings a bell because the night before my ex-husband and I got married, my grandmother and my grandfather, who I'm named after, presented me a Bible from 1891, and inscribed in gold lettering was Hiram Leslie Reeves. So, and that was my wedding present from them. So that was like really intense. So I'm trying to be fast because I know we're like almost out of time. But my mother and I have never had like a real mother and daughter relationship. It's always been weird and complicated, and I just felt like I really needed to call her that night, and it was really late because we had been praying forever. And Crystal was like, I don't know if you should call her. And I was like, I think I'm going to call her. And so I called her, and I was like, Mom, this isn't going to make any sense to you, but don't ask me any questions. I just want to know, was Granddaddy involved in the Freemasons? And she's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, was Granddaddy involved in the Freemasons? And she's like, I think he was in the Shriners. And so I was like, okay, Mom. And she's like, why are you asking me this? So then I told her the whole story, and she said, I believe you. I thought my mom was going to think it was crazy. She said, I remember you being a baby, and I woke up to demons trying to go into your bed. And she said, I absolutely believe it. She goes, there's times that I know I wasn't talking to the Leslie I raised. And so then she, I guess, talked to my grandfather to finish that story. And my grandfather's 91. His name's, like I said, Leslie. And she starts asking him about the Freemasons, and he said my grandfather, or his dad, and his dad. so my great-grandfather and my great-grandfather were very heavily involved. And then my mom tried to ask him more questions, and he got really upset and was like, I don't want to talk about it anymore. Like, it wasn't for me. I don't want to talk about it. And my mom was like, okay. And so she told me that. But there's been a lot. So that's basically 5 generations of the name Leslie, like, passed down, and I'm not naming any children Leslie. That name is gone. So, yeah. So, anyways, I'm trying to find this. I had it pulled up. But there's been a lot of health issues that I have struggled with, that my mother has struggled with, that my grandfather has struggled with, that my brother has struggled with, our whole lives. And it just was like, this isn't fair. Like, why me? Like, why? I just want to be normal. I want to work hard, and I want to do this, and I want to do that. And my brother and I both got diagnosed with a really rare muscle disease, and you get paralyzed from it. And so I have been paralyzed many times in my life, and it's not the paralyzed where you can't feel anything. It's the paralyzed like a Charlie horse, and it's excruciating, and it's extremely painful. But anyways, the day after my deliverance, John asked me to send him a list of things that me had dealt with medically. And so this is the list. Asthma. I've been hospitalized for pneumonia at least 4 times. Allergies, sinuses. When I was in kindergarten and throughout elementary school, I used to throw up for no reason, and they couldn't figure it out. Severe migraines, severe anxiety and panic attacks, depression, ADD, hyperkalemic periodic paralysis, which is the muscle disease. I've had thyroid goiters. My mom's had her thyroid removed twice. It grew back. I had an ulcer that swelled my stomach shut, and I almost had to have surgery. Vertigo. I used to pass out randomly. Cysts. Was always anemic. I've struggled with back and neck problems since I was a little girl. And 2 years ago, I had a total shoulder surgery, and then in that October, I had my appendix out. So if that gives you anything on my medical history. And so John, like he said, he follows up, and he does. He was asking me questions, and I was like, well, yeah, I feel different. I feel like I have more energy. I feel like I finally know who I am. And I feel like I'm someone who deserves love and deserves to be happy. And I had never really felt that before. So that was great. I was like, awesome, this is really cool. And then I got divorced 1.5 years ago, and I gained weight after it. And so I've been trying to lose weight, and I got on the scale. I get on the scale every day. And so I got on the scale the very next morning, and I looked at it, and I was like, this is wrong. And I got off, and I got back on, and I got off, and I got back on. And I lost 11 pounds. Wow. In about 13 hours, wow. I think it was. So I was just like, John, I don't know if this is normal, but my scale's telling me repeatedly that I just lost 11 pounds. And he's like, yeah, praise God, praise God. Then he follows up with me, and I'm like, yeah, I feel good, I feel good. And then I was in my car one day, and I started hearing music differently. And it was like, I can't explain it, except I could hear different layers to songs. like pitches I could never hear before. So obviously, my hearing has improved. Um, and then I recently went to the eye doctor, and I have worn glasses since first grade. So, and every time I go, obviously, my eye vision had always gotten worse. So this time they're like, yeah, your prescription changed. And I'm like, okay, tell me what it is. And they're like, well, actually, it improved a lot. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? And they're like, your eyes are better. I'm like, I don't eat carrots. They're really gross. I'm like, how does that happen? And they're like, I don't know. I don't know. And then I looked at my mom and I'm like, it's because I got delivered. And she was like, yeah. And so these glasses are actually like the wrong prescription because I have to get a different prescription. They're too strong for my eyes. So that's my testimony. And I'm just...
Your mother.
Oh. Wait, what?
You said that your relationship.
Oh, my mom, yeah. So, back to me and my mom. We never really got along. Like, I was always closer with my stepmom, you know. And, like, I almost, like, felt, like, repulsed by my mom. Like, she'd try to give me a hug, and I'd, like, try to do this awkward, like, side hug. Like it just, I don't know what it was. But shortly after John prayed for me, like, I just started thinking a lot about my mom, and I started feeling this overwhelming sense of love for my mother, and I can't even put it into words. I would just call her, like, she would always, you know, our biggest thing was, you never call me, and I'm like, well, I hate to talk on the phone, because I really don't like to talk on the phone, but I just, all she ever wanted to do was talk about medical stuff, and I didn't want to. But I found myself calling her and being like, Mom, I just really want you to know I love you, and you sacrificed so much for me growing up, and, like, you made this Christmas beautiful. And then I found myself thinking, like, what am I saying? Like, I have never thought these things before. And she's like crying her eyes out. And she's like, oh my gosh, who are you? and it was like stuff like that. Like, I was like, found a Christmas present that she got me, and I called her at like 10 o'clock at night, and I was like, I just really wanted to thank you again for this, because it was really cool, and I really appreciated it, and thank you, and it was so me. And she's like, who are you? And I'm like, I'm telling you, it's the prayer. And I actually hate my home, like, I don't like going to my hometown, because I grew up in Ocala, so it's like, okay, woods. But, okay, I'm wrapping it up. But,
No, it's cool.
so I recently saw my mom, and I was able to give her a hug like I probably haven't given her since I was like 10 years old. And we got to spend a weekend together, and it was really amazing. And so, yeah, I just want to thank John for being faithful in his ministry.